Okay, let's continue. Takano-san is suggesting that it might be the work of real people. Eh? Simple process of elimination would have gotten me there. I was a little taken aback at not having realized the answer immediately. Yeah. Yeah, I haven't played the actual RTS games. So I have only played the I have almost solely played the figurine game. So, yeah, tabletop game. I was taken a little aback at not having realized the answer immediately. Well, think about it. If it's neither curse nor coincidence, then people must be willingly carrying it out. It's the only explanation, right? Rest Takano-san. I smiled bitterly in spite of myself. Here I was just a few minutes ago, thinking the very concept of a curse was absolutely absurd. When she suggested it was someone's doing, I ended up thinking there wasn't any way it could be person. But Takano-san was right. It was either a curse or it was a person's doing. If unrealistic things like curse didn't exist, then the obvious next step would be to start thinking it was people behind it. But if that was the case, I glanced at Shion. If the culprit is a person, then they'd have to be someone from Hinamizawa. That's what the police officer Oishi-san thinks right now, too. Hey, wait. That can't be. I thought I now knew the reason Mion didn't want to talk about this. If Oyashiro-sama's curse really existed, then that's fine. It would be divine judgment for the damn project business. However, if Oyashiro-sama's curse didn't exist, which it obviously didn't, then the culprit would most likely be someone from Hinamizawa. The villagers had worked desperately to oppose the dam construction project. I knew they had used all sorts of methods to fight against it. If one of those methods was, maybe, people whisper that Oyashiro-sama's curse could be the doing of a secret group in the damned resistance movement. Shion dryly put words to my exact thoughts. Of course I didn't expect it. She was from Hinamizawa, so I didn't think she'd come out and say it herself. If you calm down and think about it, anyone would come to the same conclusion. There wouldn't be motive for anyone but people who benefit from opposing the dam project, right? I guess that's true. Admitting the existence of a darker side of the dam conflict would be rude to Mion, who spoke of it so highly. So I couldn't just accept Shion's seemingly logical viewpoint. One more thing, the police probably don't know this. There's proof that someone from Hinamizawa committed these crimes, and the people of Hinamizawa know it. Eh? What? Shion rebukes me to keep my voice down. Sorry. But this proof, what is it? It's the fact that one person dies and one more person disappears. One person disappears. Did that mean that someone besides the one who died from the curse was a sacrifice? What do you mean by disappear? They just vanish and never see them, and you never see them again? That's right. That sly face. Funnily and without a trace. As she spoke, Shion pretended to do a trick with her hands like she were making a magician's hat disappear. Satoko is secretly the culprit. She's suddenly the mastermind. Shock horror. One dies a mysterious death and one disappears, never to be seen again. A strange vanishing act. But then why? How does that equate to someone from Hinamizawa being the culprit? Well, actually, Hinamizawa has this one really old legend. It's about how people offer sacrifices to Oyashiro-sama to calm his wrath. Sacrifices? Yes. Oh ho 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 ho! Sacrifices? Oh ho 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 ho! I'm really breaking the mood here quite a bit. They say they used to wrap living person. Jesus Christ, this is loud. I hope it's not too loud for you all. They say they used to wrap living person up in a bamboo mat and let them slowly sink down into a bottomless swamp. Takano-san, though explaining something pretty terrible, has a look of glee on her face as she did so. As far as I can glean from the literature, it actually took 3 days and 3 nights for them to sink. See, even people a long time ago liked symbolism. As the body sunk, Oyashiro-sama's anger would be quelled. Both were submerged into the deep. Gage-san will surely be my next target for the curse. Oh ho ho! Yeah. Definitely. It's definitely Satoko. I mean, wouldn't you have fun if you are sharing? It's like sharing secrets. So it makes sense that she's having fun. I would be having fun. Takano-san was the only one laughing at this. Was she telling a joke or something? Theo didn't move to deny it, but I felt a difference in temperature between her cool expression and Takano-san's. This whole conversation, well, I think you can imagine after hearing it, but it's the secret history of Hinamizawa. Everyone who has been in Hinamizawa for a long time knows it, but they don't talk about it. Takano-san's not from here, but she knows quite a lot. She really likes local history, folk legends, stuff like that. She learned about it all by herself too. I'm really not all that amazing. Just curious, that's all. Like a child. I just want to see scary things for the fun of it. Tomitake-san laughed, a little bit embarrassed. Wait a minute. What does that mean? The other person who disappears during the incidents, you're saying they're offered as a sacrifice? Yeah. Dion answers in one word before anyone else can speak. Someone dies, then someone disappears. Well. Oh, by the way, I completely forgot. Headpats. Been such a long time. Well, whether they actually get sacrificed or not is a different issue. But every time something happened in the past, one person died and one other person disappeared. For example, the first one where the dam site manager was killed, apparently one of the people responsible for that still hasn't been arrested. Couldn't that just mean he managed to get away? I don't see why we should treat him as a sacrifice. Well, that's basically what I think too. There was also the year after that with the leader of the dam proponents. You said he fell from a cliff and died while on a vacation, right? Apparently his wife fell as well. The police investigated fervently, but they were never able to find the wife's corpse. The river under the cliff was actually pretty high at the time though. He could have just been buried under the sand at the bottom of some lake downstream or something. The perpetrator of dismemberment like that wouldn't be caught, so they'd be desperate to run away and hide too. Though I thought I'd heard about a case where the corpse wouldn't surface after a person drowned in a swelled river like that. He vanished because of an unfortunate accident, but I still didn't see the connection to sacrifices. If you took each past incident in turn, none of the disappearances evoked that terrifying of an image. The year after that, with the priest suddenly falling ill and dying, is much clearer. His wife left a suicide note. They found it in their house at the night the priest died. It said something along the lines of her quelling Oyashiro-sama's wrath through her death. The curse, it seems to turn up in this one though. Well, we may never know the truth of the matter. The swamp of the The swamp the wife drowned herself in was the giant bottomless one Takano mentioned before. Police investigated it, but all they could find were several of her possessions. They never found the corpse. Rip all damn proponents. Yep. The police suspect it was a faked suicide, and they're still investigating it now. Someone dies every year, and in the same way, someone goes missing every year. God damn, it's hot in here. Is she trying to tell me that everyone who vanished was kidnapped by some extremely efficient means and dumped into the bottomless swamp, still alive and drowned to death? But a curse? That's unbelievable in its own right. And the next year, what was it, the damn proponent's sister-in-law? He was killed, and the same way someone disappeared. It was a boy around my age named Satoshi Hojo. He's the nephew by marriage of the woman killed. Dion cut in with a slightly strong tone of voice. She knew the boy who had disappeared pretty well. At least that's the vibe I was getting. Well, that about sums everything up. One person always dies. Yeah, is it just with like a biceps? Oh me, oh my. I should probably open the window. One person always dies and one person always suddenly disappears. Leaving the suddenness aside, the fact was that each incident involved one person disappearing. So that means the first person who dies is because of Oyashiro-sama curse, and the second person who vanishes is because the villagers sacrificed them. Is that it? Kei-chan, there is no curse. Somebody kills the first person under the guise of the curse, and someone takes away the second person to be sacrificed. But Shion, that means the criminal is in the village. That's what I've been guessing from the start. It's pretty shocking though, you know? We live in the... God damn! Why is it so hot? Oh well. I'll just deal with this. It's pretty shocking, you know, though. We live in the Showa period. It's kind of hard to believe people are committing murder like it's nothing, using some ancient justifications, huh? It didn't have anything to do with our discussion, but I got the feeling that maybe Shion didn't like Hinamizawa very much. Mion enjoyed talking about Hinamizawa and its epic tales. So she had avoided talking about Oyashiro-sama's curse, which didn't paint Hinamizawa in a good light, no matter how you looked at it. I mean, if you take a good look at it, if you take a look at it from a certain perspective, it's not that bad, I'd say. Not all that bad. So she didn't say anything. Dion, on the other hand, was somehow different. She wasn't rejecting the concept of a curse to purge Hinamizawa of this bad impression, but rather because she strongly believed that a member of the village was the criminal behind this. Her conviction seemed a bit removed from the tight sense of community held by the people of Hinamizawa. Once upon a time they looked so alike you could mistake one for the other, but talking to her now I was getting a powerful feeling that Shion had a completely different personality than Mion. Then everyone else, they all think someone from Hinamizawa did it, right? Neither Shion nor Takano-san answered that. The deafening silence told me that all that needed to be said. Then let me ask another question. If someone from Hinamizawa is the culprit, then who is it? Neither Shion nor Takano-san had replied to that question either. Though it may have been rude to ask, I had hoped they wouldn't have one. The reason I asked was to argue that their explanation that the culprit was from Hinamizawa was nothing more than one possibility. Shion caught on to my plan. She gave a pained smile at my petty spite and opened her mouth to speak. All I said really was just amounts to circumstantial evidence anyway. If any of us knew who it really was, we'd have gotten them into police hands already. As would anybody. Then what about Takano-san? She too smiled dryly as Shion had and opened her own mouth. Well, I'd like to clear one thing up. I'm not a detective or anything, alright? In all honesty, I'm not really interested in who the culprit is. Takano-san, you sure are a handful. Tomitake-san gives a bitter laugh at her surprising opinion on the matter. You see, I just like cruel and atrocious ancient traditions and fairy tales. I only enjoy them from curious onlooker's perspective. So even for this string of incidents, it's not so much finding out who the culprit is, but enjoying thinking about how the old traditions displayed by the incident themselves still seem to have some pretty deep roots around here. Though she described herself as nothing more than a curious onlooker, her smile was sharp as the tip of the blade. Women like her felt very strange and a little scary to me. Maybe it's just that I was in a fearful awe of the person whose emotions I couldn't comprehend. But I don't think any of this is interesting at all. The Watanagashi festival is coming up tomorrow, and I don't want anyone to die or disappear. Tomorrow, huh? That's right. It had completely slipped my mind. The string of murder incidents people attributed to Oyashiro-sama's curse, it wasn't over. If last year's incident wasn't the end, then tomorrow night at the festival would someone die and someone disappear? I do wonder who will die tomorrow and who will disappear too. Takano-san said, running a comb through her hair with elegant movements, with a thin smile and a voice that nearly made me shudder. She almost looked like she was enjoying the thought of incidents that could happen tomorrow. Then out of the blue we heard a loud round of applause. They seemed to be ending the drinking party early. Who is Bei? Hard to say. That would probably be Rena. Rena is definitely Bei. Rena or Shion. Right, I was making Mion wait this whole time, wasn't I? I should go back to her soon. You're teasing the kid too much, Takano-san. Now Keiichi-kun thinks it's all true. I apologize. It's that bad habit of mine again, said Takano-san, sticking out her tongue bashfully. Strangers in her expression was nowhere to be found. When Takano-san sees an innocent child like you, she can't help but wanting to poke fun at them. It's a real bad habit. Keiichi-kun, you listened to everything so honestly that she ended up getting carried away. Unlike Takano-san, Tomitake-san, Shion is moving up, definitely. Unlike Takano-san, Tomitake-san seemed like a totally normal person with common sense. They were apologizing after realizing what kind of impression they'd given me. The stuff Takano-san just said is all fiction. If it made you harbor any bad impressions about Hinamizawa, then we apologize for that. Jeez, Chiro-san. You apologize too, Takano-san. Tell him you're sorry for scaring him. Takano-san and Tomitake-san were arguing and messing around now. The strained air around us had already dissipated. Kei-chan, you should get going soon too. Mion is a dead jealous type. She sees me, she'll probably start a fight, so I'll just be going home. Really? Then I'll go see what Mion's doing and apologize for making her wait, I guess. Sorry for being such a nuisance, Keiichi-kun. Could you tell Mion-chan we're sorry for borrowing you for so long? Ah yes, I don't think telling her will make her feel any better, but sure. Tomitake-san and Takano-san, standing next to each other, began to chuckle. Okay then, Kei-chan. Let's try and run into each other at tomorrow's festival. We'll see each other. I mean, it's us we're talking about after all. We'll be making so much trouble it'll be hard for you not to find us. Shion and I said our goodbyes to Tomitake-san and Takano-san. Before we could leave, Takano-san called out to us. Thanks for listening so earnestly to what I had to say. You're just so good at listening. I had a great time talking to you. Good at listening? No, not at all. I was just in a state of perpetual bewilderment from all the shocking topics being thrown at me one after another. Did you like my story today? Well, it was pretty interesting. Then I'll tell you some more sometime, okay? There's a lot of pretty interesting legends and fairy tales about Hinamizawa. Of course, a lot of strange and creepy ones too. I'll choose a bunch of my favorites and tell you about them. I was kind of happy, but kind of worried. I can't help but smile dryly and scratch at my head. No, scratch at my throat. Blow at it. Blow at my throat. Keiichi-kun, you can go now. Takano-san is just messing with you. They say goodbye again and run off. I heard Tomitake-san call out behind him in the clear voice that we would see each other at the festival tomorrow. When I went to the tent Mia was waiting for me in, she was nowhere to be found. I made her wait for so long. Maybe she got mad and went home. After asking some adults passing by, I heard that she went home talking to some relatives. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. Shouldn't have did that. But my regret for having made Beyond wait wasn't enough to triumph over the impression Takano-san and Shion's uncanny story left on me. Serial murder incidents that happened 4 years in a row. Would tomorrow's events make this the 5th? And the possibility that someone from Hinamizawa was carrying this all out under the guise of a curse. The queer tradition of ritual sacrifice entirely unbecoming of the Showa period we live in. I regretted it a little, though it was too late. If none of those creepy stories had anything to do with me, then I should have just let Mion pull me away from that crowd. I felt a little ashamed about letting my cheap curiosity get the better of me. That's a lot of tips. A little elbow grease. New achievement. Oyashiro-sama's curse. The ancient Onigafuji village, the anger of Oyashiro-sama, his curse, was feared above all. However, it is seldom stated anywhere that what eventually happens and what sort of divine judgment curse befalls them when Oyashiro-sama is angry. Yeah, tomorrow is Watanagashi. I might actually save the next happiest festival in all of Hinamizawa. Yeah, that's for sure. From various reports, all hell will break loose. Demons will come flooding out. The miasma from hell will flood outward and kill every villager, letting not a single one escape. The once evoking images of the village being annihilated stand out the most. These terrifying ideas of divine punishment are in alignment with many other religious beliefs regarding the apocalypse, hell, and it's easy to imagine that they are just ways of convincing people to obey the teachings in order to prevent such an end. Let me actually open the window, because holy hell. Not helpful at all. God damn. I might actually save the festival for the next chapter for the next stream, because so we might cut today a little bit short, so I can still do homework today. Conditions for inciting Oyashiro-sama's wrath are likely the same as the taboos in Onikafuji village. Whose scrapbook is this? Yeah, good. That's a really good question. I believe that when act of was performed that violates one of these taboos, Oyashiro was turned angry. And in order to quell his anger, they would perform the aforementioned sacrificial ritual. The human sacrifice ritual. Sacrificial ritual was a simple drowning, involving plunging sacrifices into Onikafuji swamp, which was considered hallowed. One of the rituals of Onikafuji village, this one was unique. Of the rituals of Onikafuji village, this one was unique in that the sacrifice would sink slowly over the long course of 3 days and nights. I believe that it wasn't so much the killing of this sacrifice that was important, but rather the symbolism of them sinking as the submerging of Oyashiro-sama's anger. For that purpose they must have had passion for learning various methods for keeping the sacrifice from sinking too quickly, force them to sink more slowly. Unfortunately, as far as I can tell from the records, those methods were not recorded. Make sure to answer your homework questions just like Satako, with many appearances of oh and calling people plebeians. Yeah, I'll be sure to do that, because my teacher will definitely like that. Especially in higher school, in basically a college. That's how teachers will love my answers. My thoughts are that they may have used logs or some similar material to create a raft. Then set up a scaffold on there, hung the sacrifice up with ropes, and let them sink little by little over time into the swamp. However, if that were the case, then it would not be strange if the ritual implements used for such a ceremony were honored as holy and enshrined somewhere. Let's read the rest of these notes, and then we'll probably call it a day, actually, because even though it's only been like an hour, I still need to go do some stuff real quick. Implements used for the ritual. Ritual tools utilized for ancient religious ceremonies are commonly referred to as implements or ritual implements, and even now some of them are enshrined on the property of the Furude Shrine and the three families. I cannot pronounce anything correctly right now. I'm really far too exhausted. This sweltering heat is just taking its toll on me. Jesus Christ. However, the identifiable tools are all decorative, and none appear to have been used in rituals governing the dark side of Onikafuji village. Thank you for your understanding. Makes it good for me. Oh, Jesus Christ. Though I will be streaming on Wednesday as well, so we will be able to continue quite quickly. Not sure at what time though. I can check that. I'll check that before we end the stream. Dark side of Onikafuji village. As the Edo era came to a close and many traditional rituals were lost, they were lost as well. Were they lost as well? Or perhaps buried in the darkness? I don't believe so. Both the implements used on the night of the feast of Onikakushi and those used during the sacrificial ceremony must still exist enshrined away from the eyes of the masses. Without a doubt they exist here today at this very moment in Hinamizawa. Also, I'm nearly certain where they've been enshrined. What was once locked steadfastly has, for some reason, changed this year to a cheap-looking padlock. He may be able to do something about such a lock. However, it is not far from the assembly hall, nor is it even ever far from the presence of people. However, I will not give up. The night when it becomes a blind spot to every villager in Hinamizawa is coming soon. soon it will be Watanagashi. Yeah, as I said, I opened the window. Yeah, that's lovely. Festival's around the corner. Rabble, rabble, rabble. Hey, are you worn out already? Tomorrow's the real thing. We're gonna be partying until morning, until the very end of it all. Oh, got it? Got it. I'll give it everything I've got. Wahaha. Alright then, youth is the greatest. Good work everyone. Tomorrow is Watanagashi at last. Let's get some shut-eye in and save our energy for tomorrow night. Tomorrow is finally Watanagashi. Festivals are split into two groups, those who enjoy them and those who support them. The former only need to prepare their minds, but the latter needs not only that, but also painstakingly crafted plans and preliminary arrangements. While the general majority attending goes about enjoying the festival without a care in the world, will be strained the whole way through. Why? You sure as hell know why. Because the beer after everything's over is the best damn beer you'll ever have. At times like these, it's best to have energetic, physically fit people. It wouldn't be worth it if you didn't do your best until the end, enjoying it the whole way. Oh, he's here. Oishi-san came in. Everyone hurried to stand up. Hello everyone, excellent work out there. Ah, you can be at ease. Thank you, sir. Not even my seniors, who usually talk big about themselves, can hold a candle to Oishi-san. We all bow as if we were one of those cheering squads of old. Kuraudo Oishi. Detective just waiting to retire. One who doesn't pay much mind to rules and regulations and who doesn't do too much in the way of real work. He looks like a rotten old man with a penchant for old dirty jokes. My seniors though tell me that he was a real fighter in his younger days and that he police rally for Watanagashi. Yeah! My seniors though tell me he was a real fighter in his younger days and that he may or may not have quite a heroic legend trailing behind him. Yeah. Oishi's quite active. Anyway, he surely had much more dignity and presence in the room than the section chief who came in with him. Everyone, I really thank you for your hard work on the preparations for the festival tomorrow. Everyone present stands upright and lends their ear to the chief's directions. We are on heavy alert for any thrill-seeking criminals expecting another incident like last year. I need all of you to focus your energy as much as possible in your mission to prevent any crimes from happening. Yes, sir! Of course, it would be best if nothing happened. However, everyone, please assume that an incident will in fact occur. Prevention is number one, but it probably won't be enough. This year too, someone will die and someone will disappear. There's really no doubt about it. Everyone apart from the section chief smiled painfully. Oishi-san, that won't do. We need to be more serious about this. The important part isn't to get past the night of the festival. It's to be able to quickly, swiftly and aggressively pursue whatever does happen tomorrow night. I won't tolerate anything less than your best. Clench those cheeks. We're gonna rip the skin off the ghost of Oyashiro-sama's curse. Yeah! Okay. That's gonna be enough Higurashi for today. Let me just check at what time